Oh, let's get that off of there.
Ryan, wow, that's a
We're here.
fail.
We're here. We're
Oh,
here.
we did it! We did it!
Welcome aboard, everybody. We are flying by the seat of our pants here. We are live on a few places. Chat's popping off. I'm already stoked to see that. I think everybody's pretty fired up after a one hell of a game one. Canucks defeat the Smashville Predators 4-2. Vibes are high. People are positive. People are optimistic. Arash, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, brother. No one was negative at any point in this night. This was as we planned it. We knew. We knew all we needed was 15 seconds. That's all good. You're definitely. Let me just say, I had an entire page set out to just talk about Elias Pettersson, and then Dakota Joshua was like, "Yeah, I got the. It's okay. I got it. I got it, guys. It's fine. Relax."
There was some lulls. There was at points it was absolutely defensive hockey, much like Francesco Aquilini alluded to. It was tight like a playoff game, and God was it ever. But a tremendous effort, top to bottom. As we pop into the third here, Richard Honeycutt, gentlemen, what a third period, and
what a turd.
It came alive. There's a lot to talk about in this game. There are a lot of positives. There is, a lot of players that really showed up when we were wondering if they would. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't spend a couple of moments talking about about from 7 p.m. till about 7:08 p.m. today, where everybody remembered what playoff hockey feels like in this city, and man, was that an incredible feeling.
Yeah, so it's really hilarious that we're looking back, and again, the punchline is it's been 9 years. The ALS ice bucket challenge was the thing that was really popular. I'm sure the Harlem Shake was popular at the time, like that kind of mid 2010 ish kind of vibes. I'm really glad to see that. I know financially it's a tough time for a lot of people. We saw a largely packed crowd at Rogers Arena. We saw and heard "Where the Streets Have No Name," much akin to people wanting to make a reference that it's a psychological thing for the Nashville Predators because they didn't go to the Sphere.
That's a bit of a stretch and a half right there.
It's a little bit of a stretch and a half. But it was really great to see everyone. We had a lot of friends that attended the game tonight. A lot of our media friends, Sam, doing some really great work and just documenting a lot of the stuff that was happening, along with finding out that those Fanatic jerseys were going for $260. I don't know if you saw that.
What Fanatics jerseys?
It's the Fanatics brand skate jerseys.
Oh yeah, that's all they sell right now. They're pushing Adidas out of there.
It was awful. But anyway, listen. So I think the one thing we've really learned from watching the last couple of days of playoff hockey, especially like other years as well, but everyone needs a light reminder when the playoffs start, is that this is literally the first period of most games outside of Winnipeg and Colorado, and even Winnipeg and Colorado was just this on some crazy level of crack, is that it's like a boxing match where you're just sparring with the other person and just seeing, okay, Nashville, what are you bringing to the game? Vancouver, what are you bringing into the game? And for the first period, we slowly saw that. I do want to say this one thing. JT Miller, JT Miller was here from the get-go, from the very start of this entire thing. He was three hits in his first 4 minutes on the ice. I was looking at the box scores.
Yeah.
And then it took everyone else to kind of slowly but surely. Then you saw Garland. Then you saw Joshua. Elias Lindholm. Man, great game tonight. Pettersson, we're just still waiting for him to find that other gear. Again, they've won game one. He has time. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, Ryan, I don't know. We can jump from the first to the second to third. It's like three different kind of stories, but I'd love to know what you felt going in.
Going into the game, we were watching we were watching. I was watching a great Winnipeg, Colorado game one, and just kind of hoping.
Yeah.
I hope that it's kind of as enjoyable as this has been, and all the lead up to this series. It was the Predators have a good top line, and the Predators hit a lot, and you contain the top line and you hit them back. You might just be okay, and my whole worry going in was, man, I hope they can hit. Because your Sissons and I forget the name of the guy that led the team in hits.
Jeremy Lazon.
Jeremy was on. I'm like, I don't know. Can the Canucks hang and bang with those boys? And they go right out there and just lay the body every opportunity. Yep. And a lot of guys looked like the playoffs, and that's you notice guys for good and you notice guys for bad. Tyler Myers was a real playoff guy tonight.
Such a playoff guy. Like
big playoff guy.
Listen. I know. Listen, everyone knows I'm a Tyler Myers guy. I wrote my Botford article on him and everything. He's a gazelle, and sometimes he's gonna do some amazing stuff, and then in the next however many games, 3 to 6, we're gonna be like, how the hell is this guy still on the roster? But you have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
I thought he had a great game. Again, those pillars on the back end when we're talking about Myers, Soucy, Zadorov, got into penalty trouble a little bit there. Special teams played a little bit of a factor here. I think again, home ice, did certain holding and tripping calls that we're getting really pensive about and everything. Again, it's the playoffs, and they have to learn that, hey, if you give them a reason to call something, they're probably going to call it, if it's super egregious. But yeah, I don't know. It's such an odd game because for 15 seconds there, Ryan, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I was really getting ready to be like, JT. I was like JT Miller, Connor Garland, Elias Lindholm, Thatcher Demko, Quinn Hughes. I'm like, okay, people are showing up, but again, they had a long lead up to game one against Nashville, where you're still waiting for some people to pick up. Man, it took them 15 seconds. Yeah, and I think largely for majority of the game they did play Nashville. I think for the first half of the third, I would give it the edge to the Nashville Predators in terms of it just kind of being a little bit of a toss up there. But 15 seconds, man, it's the two fastest goals in Canucks playoff history. Which I don't think anyone would have guessed that.
I can't. I'm sure there's something that happened in like 1983, some anomaly, but I can't remember very fast goals like that. But
Paul Reinhart is a man possessed, right?
Somebody call up Paul Reinhart. It was very cool to see because they were they go into the TV timeout in the second. Predators immediately score on a Sam Lafferty gaff. And you kind of go, what are we doing here? Like what is happening? But that 15 seconds, I don't even remember what led up to it. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did come out of nowhere. And just when we're watching the game and we're just watching kind of the ebb and flow of them really controlling tempo and paces of play and just kind of it going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Then you have a Quinn Hughes shot. Now, question: did Quinn Hughes get the official goal on that, or was that Pius Suter?
It has been changed to Pius Suter. Hughes and Besser on the assist. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that, and then it takes that, and then Dakota Joshua, like it just they will to the front of the net, and I don't want to promote our show too much, even though we have a lot of great listeners watching from YouTube and X and wherever. Ryan, it turns out getting pucks on net kind of a good thing. I'm just getting, I don't know, fucking when all else fails, literally get pucks on net and just watch what happens, man. And so you crash the net, get your stick down, pop in a goal. There we go.
Doc, it's the damnedest thing that Elias Lindholm just throws it on the net. UC Saros, I think they might have had a scouting report that sometimes maybe he hasn't been the sharpest all year, and whammo, it's in. I was really stoked at Elias Lindholm tonight. Lindholm opens up the scoring. He, again, not a goal. He might not score that goal 9 out of 10 times, but he scored that 1 out of 10 times.
Hey man,
And
if you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
he gets that goal. I like everybody was so fired up for this game, and like there was a noise, there was a buzz, there was just this hard hitting style of play that, man, I kind of forgot like this that you haven't been seeing in this market for 9-10 years, and like I was just kind of like overtaken by it, and I didn't really care what was kind of happening to start. I'm like, okay, they're hitting. Thatcher Demko's making huge saves. But
sorry to interrupt. That Demko save in the first, I think really kind of, as much as it is a gaffe to have to come in and defend against that, and to have your goalie have to make a save in that position, I think this fan base in this city just needed another reassurance that, hey, Demko's here. This is not no shade on Spencer Martin, but this is not Spencer Martin of last year. This is not, you don't have to worry as much. You have a bona fide Vezina caliber goaltender in the back there. Yeah. And I think that really kind of settled everyone down to be like, okay, all right, we didn't give up a goal in the first 15 seconds. It's okay.
I don't know why I always think about it, but I always... Yeah, I treat it like a medical fact, where they interviewed Roberto Luongo's brother during Game 5 of the 2011 Stanley Cup Finals, and it was after his tough game in Boston, and they're interviewing his brother, and he goes, "How did you think? Like, were you worried about your brother?" He's like, "Nah, he made the first save, but I knew he'd be fine tonight." Demko gets his first save. I'm like, he's going to be fine. There was very few shots on goal in the first period, and he makes that save going, coast to coast or from post to post in his net. And I'm like, nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing to worry about in this game. That scoring chance did begin from our resident playoff guy, Tyler Myers, who had a bit of a gaffe at the blue line, and the puck, it was lost in one way or another, lost possession of it. But Thatcher Demko makes up with the huge save, and then Tyler Myers decides, hey, it's the playoffs, I can just hit people and I'll be fine. And he goes and lays somebody out, and all is forgiven.
It's amazing how one boomstick really makes everyone just forgive and just be like totally fine with everything. Looking at the box score tonight, really a lot of I can't find really. There's two players that didn't register a hit tonight, is Brock Besser and Connor Garland. Then we look at the defensive side. Quinn Hughes and Ian Cole, the only two that also didn't register a hit. I just want to give this stat line about how insane of a goal or insane of a game Dakota Joshua had. Right, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points, +3, 2 shots on net, 6 hits, 17 minutes. We were joking about it before we hopped on. This man is going to be paid so much. He is getting Fernando Pisani money after the 06 run or the whatever. Just an unreal game from him. And again, like, when he's gone, you can really notice within the team that physical presence is really missed.
Yeah.
And yeah, just overall, I think this game, Ryan, this game could have ended in a different way. This game really could have ended in a different way. Credit on the Canucks for fighting back. Credit on the Canucks for not allowing, the pressure of everything to get to them too much. And for this game, this game, Ryan, really easily could have turned into one of those, hey, we got the jitters and, we're new. Like, that's the narrative that's being pushed with the Canucks from everyone over in the East Coast, is that, well, they don't have the experience and they don't have this and they don't have that. I'm like, well, they do. I mean, Ian Cole's won like 17 Stanley Cups, and there's players in the room that have experience and they have been in the bubble, and they're internationally. A lot of these guys have played as well. This isn't Sydney in his second year in the league with Malkin, facing the Ottawa Senators and getting swept, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna learn next year. But really, really great on them. So if you mind, I can just quickly go through the scoring for the game. So people
let's go through the scoring for the game, and then let's move on to a little guy named EP40.
Oh, all right. Do I have enough bandwidth to open this Tesla? Okay. Well, no. The game opens up with a Jason Zucker goal. kind of right at the end of the first period there, wrist shot beating Thatcher Demko. Again, I think when this goal scored, took a bit of the air out of Rogers Arena. People were kind of clenched up and being like, oh God. And again, Jason Zucker, someone that the Canucks were linked to in the trade deadline. Really interesting trade from the Arizona Coyotes, or now the Utah Big Loves, or whatever they're going to be called. The Utah Yetis. Utah Yetis. Let's not make
the Utah Yeti.
Yetis, man. Started second period, Elias Lindholm with a wrist shot beating UC Soros out of nowhere, 47 seconds in. Again, reminiscent of Elias Lindholm when he was playing in Calgary. There's that he has a good shot, and perhaps he's had a wrist injury, and maybe this rest has really kind of caught him back. Then we move on to the power play for the Nashville Predators. Ryan O'Reilly, again, another player linked to the Canucks during free agency. I don't even remember. Power play goal, beating Thatcher Demko over the glove side. We thought maybe it would be challenged. There was a stick kind of on there. I think it was Luke Evangelista. They didn't decide to challenge that, and then we're going into the third. And then, P.S. Suter. There we go, baby. Tipped in. A tip-in shot from Quinn Hughes. Make it 2-2. Dakota Joshua, 15 seconds later. Or actually, not 15. Actually, let's see. 8:59. It's not 15 seconds. It's 12, I think. I don't know.
It was 12 seconds.
It was 12 seconds after. Yeah. Dakota Joshua, again, from Connor Garland. Again, net front. Just getting right in the slot. And then we have a 3-2 game. And then Dakota Joshua, again, empty net. And that's all she wrote. And then, they honked their last honk, Ryan.
Honk their last honk.
They honked their last honk. So I think by the midway-ish period of this game, I think perhaps me and you were ready to be like, hey, not exactly sure where, it just seemed like they just needed to get going. JT Miller, again, was like, you could see he's dropping F-bombs. He's getting offside and slapping the puck, and he's just waiting for a couple more guys to get on with him, get onto the bus, get onto the train. Let's go. And that goes to show you now going into game 2, hopefully this gives them a little bit of confidence to say, hey, this is not UC Soros. Not to give any shade to UC Soros, again, great goalie, but he hasn't had a fantastic year to his normal expectations. Maybe don't respect your opponent too much in this series like this, and understand that you have a lot of flexibility to take the onus in the offensive zone for yourself and really push the tempo and pace of play.
The Nashville Predators, again, how quickly the momentum shifted, and how quickly the story of game 1 was rewritten. Right. They're, in my opinion, they're a manageable team. They want to hit you, and they want to, keep things calm long enough for Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly to get. And is Gustafsson on that top line?
No, it's Gustav Nyquist.
Gustav Nyquist. Sorry,
Gustav Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly, Philip Forsberg.
Yeah. Please
apologize, Ryan, for Ryan's miscue there. His knowledge is only up to NHL 2K23. I have not bought him NHL 24 yet.
But they have that top line, which is absolutely dangerous, and no question. But it kind of falls off there, and Jason Zucker opens the scoring, and I'm going like, well, here we go. Here's our here's our Canucks killer for 2024. And after that goal, that lineup, that second, third, and fourth line just kind of looked okay. You could hem them up. You could hem them out to the perimeter. The Canucks are doing a very good job getting sticks in the lanes, and it was just a matter of them getting something going their way, because right before the March of Dimes, the parade to the penalty box began, there was a couple scoring chances the Canucks had. Difficult scoring chances. These weren't expected to go in, but there were opportunities with tips and with passes, and there was some flubs, and just there was no finish from these guys. And when they're down 1-0, you're like, I really need these opportunities to go in. And they weren't getting their momentum that way, and they weren't getting momentum from hits, so they changed their way of getting momentum to killing penalties. And the first one seemed surgical, and everything else after that, it felt like just a chore. Like, okay, we got two, I got to put 2 minutes in here. All right, like let's get through this. It was great to see.
Yeah, it was greght to see. And then just quickly going in the chat because this comment made me laugh. And it's 7'2" Gonzaga power forward, I believe, is our friend Travis from Denver. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I think you mean the Utah Storm and Mormons, which I know it's low hanging fruit, but it is really, really very, very funny. Ryan, to show you my also my even absurd lack of NHL knowledge, storming back to NHL 2K6, I like watching Philip Forsberg. I cannot believe that the Washington Capitals traded him for Martin Erat 1-for-1. I'm baffled. Like, of all, we talk a lot about the Jim Benningisms of this team, and we look at Jared McCann linked to Eric Branson, OEL, Roussel, redacted from Abbotsford, all this stuff. Holy moly, that trade! Wow. Just one of the all-times. Good for Nashville. Good for Smashville for doing that trade. But again, really kind of under the water there. Yeah, it was just, it was really good to see. And just kind of setting the things that he's like. Do you feel like that at all, Ren? That it's after this game, you're like, okay, like they're adjusting to this, and I think as we go forward and as we kind of push forward with the series, like it's. This is like 6 games. Like, okay, this can be malleable enough for the Canucks side.
I hate to use this term, but they control their narrative, and then it was, and I'm the first person that'll tell you that I'll be skeptical about them. And I was asking, like, are they frauds? Is this a good team? Is this a quality hockey team that could win 2 rounds and give it their all in a conference final, where the Vancouver Canucks historically are 3-0. But enough about that.
What? No. What?
Canucks are 3-0 in the West Final.
Are they?
And they're 0-3 in another final.
Do we need to get the board out for that one?
No. Hey,
Ryan, you
not apply to the post-game show.
Ryan, you referenced it.
I did. I said it earlier.
Clean it off.
The board is still at 0. But they a 1-0 or a 2-0 loss with an empty netter, a game where the Canucks get shut out.
Yep.
You have they're frazzled, they're shook. This is a new experience, and their power play is ice cold. The top 3 lines can't produce. You have all of those narratives going into game 2. And then it's like when they win a 2-1 game, like, okay, well, like you have this doubt with this team that has no, this isn't the Tampa Bay Lightning going into Wild Card 2 being like, yeah, well, I'm not worried about them at all because they're the Tampa Bay Lightning. The East Coast is all fine to be skeptical about this team because they don't have a track record. The big guys don't. You touched on the Stanley Cup success by a couple of guys earlier. But you win this game. You do it decisively when you want it. It almost felt like, enough is enough. They come out of a TV timeout. Rick Talk. It's like, listen, you shitheads. Like it's time to get it done.
Do you guys want Jollibee? Do you want Jollibee after the game? Because this is not a Jollibee effort. This
ain't a Jollibee.
This is a Carl's Jr. and Chilliwack effort. If you guys have ever been to the Carl's Jr. and Chilliwack, it's awful. Man, it is really funny in that aspect of just like them really understanding, like, hey, you can turn it on now. Anytime you can turn it on. And it just seemed like they had a 12-second window in which they really went off and did that. So good for them for taking game 1, going into game 2. Let's see what happens. And overall, it's just it's so funny. Like I just again, like moving on to Elias Pettersson now.
Hang on 1 second. I want those that are watching. I want those that are watching in the chat. I have in the chat. I'd like to hear your opinion. and it's to sauce it or toss it. Elias Pettersson. 1 second here.
You're so proud of yourself for that. You should be. I also, to everyone in the chat, everyone listening, everyone watching, this is Ryan Schaap's baby. This is his fearless leadership. He set everything up. He bought me up another cord, in which in my dumb baby brain I thought he bought me the wrong cord, and he didn't, because he's literally my dad and I'm a stupid baby. So congratulations, Ryan. This looks great.
Thank you very much. We're talking about Elias Pettersson. You pointed out this right off the bat, and I want to show this on the stream. Elias Pettersson coming out.
This is Elias Pettersson seeing a specter in the stands. He obviously is very perturbed, and he's about to ask Rick Tocchet if he can please go back into the dressing room until we can deal or perhaps get some sort of exorcist out into Rogers Arena to rid ourselves of this spectral demon.
So once again, sauce it or toss it, Elias Pettersson.
You're so happy. Look at you. You should be proud of that. It's so good.
What do you? I'm not tossing Elias Pettersson tonight.
No, I'm not.
No, I will sauce him. He had a tough game. But he was saddled with a guy who I thought had an even tougher game, and that being Sam Lafferty. And when the lines kind of came out tonight after puck drop, I'm like, oh, all right, you're spreading it out. I get it, but we've just spent a little time talking about the lack of offensive depth on the Nashville Predators. So maybe the matchup is in order for this, but I didn't like that line. I did like something I saw a couple times throughout the game, but Arash, what about you? A sauce or a toss?
So I'm not gonna. I'll lightly. I'm just gonna let the sauce rest, but I'm not gonna cook the sauce. I'm gonna put it in the pan, and I'm gonna turn off I'm gonna just let it rest for a minute. This is what I think in regards to Elias Pettersson right now. It's that when when you're making or about to make 11.5 million. No, but this is
personal experience.
From personal experience, because trust me, I am swimming in the money, as you can see from my IKEA light there. That's like $400,000. Shout out to my girlfriend. When you're making that amount of money, if the expectation is that now that you sign this contract, that the noise is going to get it's going to become more silent. That's not the case. Elias Pettersson is a magnificent player, incredibly talented. And I mentioned this one tweet, Ryan, maybe I doubt you can find this clip, but it's Elias Pettersson's goal after he gets out of the box against the Columbus Blue Jackets, where basically Elias Pettersson, this is what I bring up, is that Elias Pettersson, he gets a soft call against him. He's steaming pissed off, goes into the penalty box. You can see it from the cutaways to Elias Pettersson that he's pissed off. They kill the penalty. Puck gets to him out of the box. He goes straight down the ice, beats Elvis Merzlikins on a breakaway. And when I saw that, again, it's very reminiscent of like the Jerome McGinley effect, where, even BX had talked about, we never poked Jerome. We never poked McGinley. If he's quiet, don't poke him. I'm curious just about, when like we've been waiting for him to really, arise. Like he's on a really good tier, but he, is this kind of the plateau where, 90 point forward, but is he that guy, the Austin Matthews, McDavid, McKinnon, elite tier forward, where the moment they step on the ice, the fear of God is struck into you. And and we can talk about his line mates again. Totally understandable. Sam Lafferty, incredible engine. Totally go. But at the end of the day, you're being paid $11.5 million. You're not a $5 million second line forward. If you're a $5 million second line forward, like if you're Brendan Morrison, and trust me, I have a Brendan Morrison jersey. No shade on Brendan. You know, if you're wanting to be that guy, you have to be that guy, and you have to find that gear within you to arrive at those, kind of arrive at those limits and arrive at those the stages where the games are the most important. And Ryan, I don't know if you've been feeling this, but we've been kind of waiting. We've been waiting a little bit. Again, even with injuries, there's an expectation of you. And he knows, listen, he knows he knows way more than we do. We're two 30-year-old adult males. One plays softball and another collects Pokemon. So, what the fuck do we know? But at the end of the day, the questions are going to get louder and louder and louder. And he really needs to find that next gear, however he needs to find it. He needs to find where his switch is. Like, some people have a switch. Some people really, it's like, before the game, I call my dad. And every time I talk to my dad, it pisses me off.
Kadri.
Yeah, whatever. Well, yeah, he did that too. I mean, I call my dad every day. But the thing that gets me going is, I'll talk to my mom and I'll be like, Mom, do you love me? And she'll be like, yep. And I'll be like, that's all I need. the love of a son towards his mother. But I guess that makes sense. Like, that's the thing, is that we're waiting for this next evolution of Elias Pettersson. And again, I know he's saddled with certain players, but the expectation is high for you. You're going to be saddled with players sometimes that aren't going to be A1, 1A, 1B wingers, and you have to make something happen.
Yeah, and again, it comes down to, is he an X factor? Yes, but not always. Is he driving the play the majority of the time? Yes. He's a real Canucks superstar. I think you really want him to do something when he's not doing something, and then he does something. You're like, oh, okay, well, I could have used that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another Elias Lindholm. My guy. He's up there with Ilya Mikheyev, a name I could never spell and will not try to spell. But I was really excited for the postseason to come, for Lindholm to come in and kind of add that depth, add that scoring depth, add that face-off depth, and just make 2.5, make two lines into three threatening lines. I loved his game tonight. I loved him getting pucks on net early to get that tying goal, and I really enjoyed his forecheck behind the net. I got the puck to on the first goal.
Right.
No, it was the second goal. It was the second goal. Real quick, right off the hop, goes into the zone. A hard forecheck behind the net, gets it right into the slot. Canucks take the 2-1 lead. I really liked his game. I'm looking at tonight. Nothing matters about the last 2 months. It's you're in this spot. You're doing your best. Let's see what you can do. Let's win this as a team effort.
Yeah. Andy in the chat, we have Sam and Andy just having a little exchange here. Sam being like, quit making excuses and needs playoff seasoning. Every player does. Andy with the big retort, but let's be honest, in the same way, just some players will never season the way we expect them to. This is, it's interesting in the way that we look at hockey players. And I like to look at hockey players as like a story, from the time that they're drafted to the time they hang up their skates or they end. And a lot of us, a lot of our lives are determined by circumstance. They're determined by our physical abilities, mental, emotional, financial, wherever. And we have to make do with the cards we're dealt, and we try to make the best of it. And when I look at someone like Elias Pettersson, you look at someone with a tremendous amount of potential. You look at someone that I don't think Vancouver, beyond, in the tier of the Sedins, and Marcus Naslund or Bure have really had. And you want the best for them. And like anyone that has an emotional investment in someone like a friend or someone in their family, the potential you see in other people is limitless. And I think the potential we see in Elias Pettersson is, God, if he could just find that switch where he knows how to turn it on. like Michael Jordan knew, like MJ knew he just needed something. MJ was like, the guy looked at me weird, and that's all I needed, and that's the thing that fueled my fire to go off. Can I, Ryan? One quick thing. Um, are we able to show tweets here?
I have it queued up for you. Let me just say this about
This
um I noted it. I saw it at least twice in the second period when the Canucks were down, and that was the lotto line surfaced. I only noticed 2 shifts. I could be wrong. There might have been more, but that was that. It seems like that's in Rick Tockett's back pocket. Depending on how shift lengths go or what the opportunities are. He saw an opportunity in offensive zone draw to put those boys out and kind of generate something. There was a couple. They created, I believe, 1 or 2 opportunities, but I'm really liking that he has that tool and he's using it and he's kind of sprinkling it in like Sedins and Kessler on offensive zone draw or specific stuff like that. But I think, again, it's very early in the series. He didn't have a bad game. He just had a bit of an unremarkable game because he didn't touch the score sheet. But I wonder if we see more lotto line as this series progresses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're shifting within the lotto line, and again, sorry, quickly before we move on, Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland seem like the fix-it wingers. Like if it's Petey, if it's Lindholm. So I always thought within this series that what would pretty much end up happening is that you had Joshua, Lindholm, Garland match up against the Nyquist, Forsberg, and O'Reilly line, which would free up the other 2 lines to kind of go ham and really put Cody Glass in his place to make Jim Benning, flip out and feel bad about not drafting him.
Here's when I wasn't worried too much about the Nashville Predators, and again, I'm not worried. I can say this now confidently because the Canucks won this game 4-1 or 3-1. Why can I talk? Why am I not thinking straight?
4-2. It's okay,
4-2,
Ryan.
sorry.
No, just quickly. For people who don't know, Ryan woke up this morning. He did the sun run. Then he went and played softball. Then he delivered a baby. Crazy. Ryan had a really long day, and he's doing great.
It is the longest day, but they defeated him 4-2. They had that surge when it mattered most. When they told me that Cody Glass was taken off PP1, a couple months ago, I'm like, oh, that's all right. That's not. I didn't think he would be on the power play at all, but but here he is. As we begin to wind down our conversation on the game night before we turn over to the listeners, you mentioned a good tweet. It's Francesco Aquilini's.
It's unreal. I can't believe he tweeted this. And before guys, this is not a fake account. This is not Booth. This is not me. This man literally tweeted this. And let me tell you, guys, I'm just going to tell you, we all have our issues with Francesco Aquilini and how he handled the Benning era. But if he was like allowed to only tweet one thing ever again, and then his Twitter account was destroyed, is this. This is just great. It's smart, topical, perfect. Just like so self-aware. It's fantastic.
What was the tweet from 2018? It's a staple if you're a Canuck shit poster. But what was the original one that everybody always quotes all the time?
Man, so tight, almost like a playoff game. For people who don't know, he tweeted this back in 2018. I believe it was like in November when he was tweeting, and then December happened, and it was like the season completely imploded upon itself, and they came over to Francesco and told him, "You are not to tweet anymore, ever again." And then, from time to time, he's liked some stuff, but man, this is the thing with being kind of a high profile like sports owner or anyone high profile on social media. You need to be self-aware. You need to poke fun at yourself. Like, this is what Luongo did, is that Luongo, in order to kind of bring a bit of brevity to the market, and this kind of really endeared the market to him, was just showing a little bit of self awareness. If I was PR, I would tell him, hey, like Francesco, like, hey, kind of embrace it and become this, that character or whatever in light senses. But the moment I saw that he had tweeted this, I ballistically lost my mind in my head. Go back 5 minutes, Ryan. You can see in my head, I was like,
this is a fake. Well, because I went and got the quote tweet, and say, actually, Frankie, we've got some news for you. And no, God, hey, we'll give them 2 W's tonight. One's a 4-2 win over the Preds, and the other one is for one hell of a tweet.
One hell of a tweet.
Okay. I feel at this point, Arash, we can hit stop on our local recordings. And we're going to say goodbye to the podcast listeners. Arash and I'm going to keep gabbing, but we're going to send out a link very shortly to hear from you. So before Arash hits stop recording, good night to all our podcast listeners, or good morning. We hope you enjoyed Canucks 4-2 win over the Nashville Predators, and we'll be back again for Game 2 on Tuesday night. And we're going to be recording a regular, normal podcast on Monday evening. Oh,
No. What? No. It's okay. I love talking sports. We're going to cover the Toronto Maple Leafs again.
I would love to talk about that game. But regular podcast coming Monday. So a very busy week for your feed. But we hope you enjoyed the post-game show. And for those live on the stream, stick around. All right. So we're gonna send out a link in the chat. If you wanna hop on, we encourage it.
Just encourage it. Quick thing, Ryan. You just wanted me to turn
just
off. Just
hit stop and then send that to me like it's a regular podcast.
Nice. Now we're getting into like the Red Shoe Diaries part of the episode.
So. We're taking calls. You do not have to. You click this link and you put your name in, or you can just put. You don't need to put your name in. You could just do it through your browser. You also don't need to turn your camera on. Not everybody wants to appear on camera, but if you want to give us a call and talk about the game, or you have a thought or a question, that's the link right there. It's in the chat. And we have our first caller on the line from Portland, Oregon. Let's go to Mr. Honeycutt.
So, someone I still owe money to. Don't think I've forgotten, Richard. I know. Trust me. Once this, Richard, you have to understand something. Once this Canucks Stanley Cup parlay hits, you're gonna make so much money and interest. Richard Honeycutt in the chat.
Richard, how are you doing? What's going on, Richard?
I'm doing good, guys. Awesome game. The 12 seconds of absolute bedlam. Almost woke up my wife from the couch during the Canucks game. But yeah, just super awesome to finally have another crack of the playoffs and see all the towels going and having these late night chats with you guys.
What's your again, probably the highlight of this game to start for me was 7:00 to 7:05, and just a flood of memories of the last time that you experienced a home playoff win or just a home playoff game for the Vancouver Canucks. Like, it was a long time ago. How did you feel just going in and just knowing what you were seeing?
Just bloody nervous every time we took a penalty. Honestly, like, why? Felt a little bit of inconsistency and just not being able to clear the zone. It's like, guys, let's just get it together. Like, actually get your pass all the way through. I messaged you, like, what's going on with Rogers ran ice? Just felt like bodies were bodies are just falling everywhere. Like, what's going on with Ian Cole? How come he didn't have a whole hit in the game? But he's getting in scrums. Like, what's going on? So just every possible thought racing through my head. But glad that we got the dub.
what do you feel? Being a fan going into game 2, how are you feeling about this Canucks team?
I'm feeling pretty good. Like I expected us to be able to take care of business at home, and maybe in Nashville that's where I feel like it'll really be a test for all of our inexperienced guys. Being in someone else's building like that, they kind of got to see what it's like at home now for those that hadn't, and I feel like game 2 will be a better adjustment. But yeah, the road will be. That's what they say. The series doesn't start till someone loses on the road or wins on the road. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's a series until you lose on home ice. But I like your optimistic one. You'll take it from the view of the road team.
Yeah.
Richard, do you have any concerns about Elias Pettersson right now?
No, not really. I feel like he was doing, like when he was on the power play, like everything was, was passing around, like just not really getting it through onto the net. But I felt like, being straddled with Lafferty and then Hoglander, who wasn't having the best game either. I was looking at the times on ice, and I think both Lafferty and PDG were sub 9 minutes. Pedersen was still at his normal, 20 plus. So it was like, wow, there's a lot of time where he was just with either on the power play or just with other people. Not a lot of consistency and flow with being a line. So hopefully that's something they can improve on.
And wait, a quick question to Richard. How excited are you that our illustrious team owner is tweeting just some fire tweets tonight?
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to go back and watch to see Arash's live reaction at 11 p.m.
Richard, I'm not lying. It was like I was internally having a panic attack because Ryan gave me this magic mouse, and I was just trying to figure out how do I copy? Oh my god, I just clicked with both my feet. Okay, thank God. And I'm just like sent it to Ryan. I'm like, Ryan, read.
It was 10:23 p.m. All right, Richard, we'll see you off now. Thank you so much for joining us, and look
Have
forward.
A good night, guys.
Yeah, enjoy game 2 and enjoy this feeling.
Night.
There's a button that says.
Every time, this is one thing with Richard. Every time I talk to Richard, just the best name. Just the best. Richard Honeycutt. Like, I would buy that jersey.
Honeycutt, yeah.
Oh my God. What, like, like a player named Honeycutt would be like top middle 6, could pot 20, fucking nail you to the boards, I'm just saying, Ryan. Mamarzadeh, what does that scream to you?
Some sort of dessert, maybe? Marzipan?
Yeah, been there, done that, brother. Been there, done that.
There's something fun happened before the game, what I think we both got pretty excited about. And one, there was a woman not named Mark Donnelly singing the national anthem.
Oh my God, have we not talked about this?
And number 2, she took that gimmick and made us all forget about the very problematic, strange individual that used to sing the anthem. And man, is that fun.
Just banished his ass to the fucking shadow realm to really realize. So for people who don't know, back before the Canucks had a anthem singer, his name was Mark Donnelly, whom, very good singer, and he would do this thing where he would, during O Canada, would put the microphone to the people, to the great people in the stadium, and let them sing O Canada. And then afterwards, he had a pissing fit about what he thought was infringing his freedoms, which really wasn't.
He was already appearing at some protests that not everybody shares those same viewpoints.
I just feel like what freedoms were like. I just don't understand what It's just like what freedoms you couldn't go to churches. Like I don't like church is chicken. I didn't mean like the actual church. I was just saying like But anyway, so to wrap him up, Francesco Aquilini fired him
Pub on Twitter, his second
on
best tweet.
second best tweet ever. He fired him on Twitter, and then shout out to what was it? It was that one of the most absurd radio hits I've ever heard.
Oh, Rob Fay.
The Rob Fay thing, because it was like this was like the Kennedy assassination, and Rob was like, I'm going to the station. I have to get Rob Fay's, or I have to get Mark Donnelly's take on this, which I'm like, no, we don't really need to. It's not like this guy is Bo Horvat. Like we really don't need. I'm sure, we'll figure it out. And eventually that happens. So what happened tonight is Elizabeth Irving, the future GOAT, the Vancouver's answer to a vocal Caitlin Clark. Vancouver's answer to a vocal Caitlin Clark during the anthem. She raises the microphone over to the crowd, and me and Ryan, like CM Punk coming out in Chicago, we both were like, "Oh my!
She did it!
She did it! Oh my God! It's cult of personality! Oh my God!" Yeah. So it was a great moment. I really think they didn't overthink it in terms of the presentation of the game, and that's one thing that we were really touching on is the little vibes on it. Kickstart My Heart. I don't know if you noticed, but Kickstart My Heart played at the start before they did Where the Streets Had No Name.
Who doesn't love Motley Crue?
Who doesn't love the Crew, man? Who doesn't love the Crew, brother? But yeah, they did that, and then so it turns into U2. They hammer that out. They have the towels. Little blemish on CBC, guys, or Sportsnet. Just cut away a little sooner. Like, this is a big moment. You don't need to wait exactly to the moment where, like, the build up to Where the Streets Have No Name is kind of the thing. It's with the kid. Just away to that. Just go to it. I don't need to, like, I love Jake Allen. Good for him for getting anything, but I don't want to see Jake Allen's notes at that moment. This is for us. Let us have it.
Yeah. Couldn't agree, but it was really special, and just so much came flooding back just instantly, and then both teams just started hitting the shit out of each other.
They started whacking each other.
We got a good question in the chat here from Ryan Hank, host of the PP1 podcast. A dueling live stream. How much are playoff fries? Does anyone know? If I was smart, they'd be $45, and there'd be even less fries in that one photograph. But
okay. $8. Yeah. So I'm what I'm really curious about, Ryan?
What's that?
Is the games where they're showing the road games in the arena? Are they gonna charge the same amount of money for the concession stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
$45 for a triple O's. What else do you need?
What else do you need, brother?
I'm looking at the score sheet right now, and my main thought of the night is if you control the top line of Nashville, you're probably going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Forsberg, 1 assist, -3. Nyquist, 1 assist, -3. Ryan O'Reilly, 1 assist, -3. They were the most threatening thing, and they were the most threatening line, but also had the most damage done against them.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And going into game 2, we'll see. Hopefully they can open it up a little bit more confidence in the offensive side of the game when we're it's the PD thing, man. Just grip it and rip it. Just make Yercy Saros make a save. And I think that's something they learned tonight. It's like,
I think they learned that too late in the game.
They did. I mean, they really, I just felt like they were like, we need to be perfect. No, just, make him move and make him make a save and go from there. Like, you guys are a deeper, more talented team. Believe in that. Respect them. Obviously, they have a Norris caliber defenseman, former Selke winning centerman. Vezina caliber goaltender. I don't know if UC Stars has ever won it. I don't think so. Maybe. Who knows? But his caliber's high in that. So yeah, just really kind of wondering, where game 2 is going to go and how Nashville adjusts, or how the Canucks can build off of this one when going into game 2.
What is your low key early prediction for what game 2 could look like for the Canucks?
I don't know how high the ceiling is offensively for the Nashville Predators. Just in a series like this where, they're this is I think that when I look at the Nashville Predators, I'm thinking like, oh, they're kind of like the Vancouver Canucks without a few pieces. Technically, like you can do match to match. Yossi to Hughes. You have your really really strong number 1 C. Right now, it's JT Miller. You have your Vezina caliber goalie. You have truculence on your defense with Lazan and Shen, where we have Myers, Zadorov, Susi. And yeah, there's just, it's just, Nashville has Mark Jankowski. And no shade to Mark Jankowski, but that was, that was the other Jim's, John Weisbrod's pet project over in Calgary. Was
drafted out of high school hockey in the first round.
He's he could be Gretzky.
I mean, anyone could be Gretzky.
Anyone could be Gretzky. We're waiting for EP4 to be Gretzky. But yeah, we'll see how game 2 goes. I think I hope they build on this, and I hope they just they're a bit more assertive and a bit more volume oriented, and not worrying about just getting that one snipe show shot.
I think my prediction for game 2 is similar to that, and they took a little too long tonight to kind of just rip it and rip it. I feel like they kind of go out guns blazing and not. It felt like they spent the first 40 minutes of the game, 35 minutes of the game trying to go hit for hit with Nashville, and then once they kind of show that we can bang, hang and bang with them, that's when they're like, oh, we could actually find our opportunities to get these offensive opportunities. I feel like the game 2 could be a little bit less aggressive, a little. I don't know if they're going to be as hit crazy in game 2. The Canucks, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know physically if they're going to be as hit crazy. I think that adrenaline kind of wears out for a bit, and then it's kind of like after the dust settles, that's where they're really just going to kind of get into their battles of attrition and just see where their lines of war are.
Yeah.
But again, don't knock on the Predators. I mean, since Jan 1, I mean, they've been one of the best teams in the NHL. They've been playing playoff hockey the entire second half of the season, and it's a good matchup for the Canucks. And then it's interesting going into tomorrow, really keeping an eye on Edmonton and the Kings. Like,
yeah. That is a fascinating one. It is a dragon slaying one.
Pierre-Luc Dubois to the front counter. Pierre-Luc Dubois, thank you.
What fan base is more worried about their expensive star, Vancouver with Pettersson or LA with Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Dude, I've already went on HF boards where Kings fans were like, "Can we buy him out?" They'd be stupid not to buy him out right now. I mean, it's only $3 million. Why not buy him out? Like, just the most turbulent career of a young player who single-handedly destroyed the Toronto Maple Leafs in the play-in whatever round there it was, and then just vanished off the face of the earth.
That's tomorrow night. A regular podcast will be tomorrow night, and game 2, our post-game show.
It'll be 25 minutes tomorrow. We're doing a quick wrap.
Listen, all I know is on Wednesday, I'm not going to want to speak about hockey because we're gonna be doing a lot in the next 3 days. But it's a Sunday night. The Sunday scaries are in full swing, and we're gonna wrap this one up for tonight. Hope you enjoyed post-game show. I hope you enjoyed the game, for that matter. We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back running this thing in 48 hours. But again, to wrap it up and to correct myself again, the final score: the Vancouver Canucks 4, the Nashville Predators 2. It wasn't quite the Dakota Joshua game, but man, did he look great. Arash, I will talk to you tomorrow. And I have something to give you.
What? Oh, no. Oh, I hate when Ryan does prop comedy. Oh, what? How'd you get that?
I went to the team store, baby.
How much was it?
$5. But if you bought
sick.
4, you got a 5th one free.
Oh, that's good.
So to feel less guilt, if just assume you got the free one.
Oh, thank you. You know how much I love free stuff.
Hang on. We can soda days. I'd like a 2-hour podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you want a 2-hour podcast, I'm just going to talk about how I would have booked WrestleMania this year.
Slam and Sam from East Van, he poses a very good question.
Yeah.
Surprised you guys don't watch games together, or do you stream like this from your own homes? Arash is streaming literally a block and a half from our apartment. With the unknowns and the uncertainties going into this broadcast, I'm like, let's do this remotely.
I messaged Ryan. I was like, let's watch the game together, and his excuse was, I don't want to have to awkwardly kick you out at the third period. I live literally like a block and a half away from Ryan. It's very funny.
So we'll I think we might be able to watch game 2 together now that we've kind of got this rig set up. I will close on this. At the team store, I bought this sick hat.
Oh, look at you go.
And it's corduroy.
Corduroy hats are great.
And it's snapback.
Nice.
And I'm really stoked on it. I'm going to be wearing this around town. Let's go to bed, Arash, in our separate homes. I don't want that confusion there.
I'm gonna go watch Daniel Bryan and Will Ospreay, pal.
I'm also going to watch that. Watch that match. Nameless Maniac on YouTube. Before we get out of here, that Joshua Lindholm Garland line was stellar. Absolutely, it is. And as we talked about earlier, it would have been great if swapping the Eliases and the Eliases with those boys and just seeing what you can get out of them. That's the money. But we're gonna sign off now. We're gonna put this sick video up to get out of here, and we'll see you all tomorrow night for Monday's podcast.
What are we gonna talk about? I don't even.
There's gonna be so much. Good night, everybody.